know, if you make yourself better 1% every day, you're 365% better after 1 year.
Welcome to Uncharted, the Young Professionals podcast, brought to you by MAPS. I'm Chris.
I'm Steven.
And today is episode 1, Change.
Change. We're talking about the concept of change.
It's all about how you adapt to that change. It's all about being flexible and nimble within these circumstances. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say adapt, everyone adapts to things different. Some people adapt quickly, others it takes them more time. So, when it comes to adapting, do you think people feel comfortable about that, or?
I mean, it depends on the person, really. Me, from an athletic background, I was pretty much coerced into adapting quickly and being quick on my feet and adjusting to things on the fly. So I had to deal with change. I had to deal with the change of going to a new position or change of transitioning to college from high school and eventually from football to no football. So I feel like that just seasoned me to understand change is an aspect in every endeavor we're going through. You know what I mean?
I can see where you're coming from. I came from a wrestling baseball background. When I initially came to Plymouth State, my goal was, wrestle. It's a great sport, still love it, but fortunately I don't love it as much as I used to. So, going to practice every day didn't become my hobby. It was more of a burden. So I had to kind of take a step back and look at it from 30,000 feet and say, what do I really want to do here? And your priorities change as you get older. That's one thing I did want to mention in this podcast as well. What about priorities you think you want to add?
I feel like change is priority-wise, or just
priorities. People's mindsets, their priorities change as they get
things
older.
change as we get older. Like back home, a good friend of mine, Ivan's, our conversations changed. I remember back in high school or whatever, we'd have conversations, and the first thing that would pop up would be like, "Where are the girls?" or "When's practice?" But now the transition is talking about what social, economic problems we could solve like back home, and like that's like the beauty in change. It's not always going to be for good, but there is good within it, and like you have to find that within you.
And just to clarify, how old were you guys in high school when you first started these talks about girls and whatnot?
I'd say like freshman year,
okay.
And it's a learning curve also. You know what I mean? Like we all grow up, and some people mature faster than others, as you can tell. I can't even say I'm fully grown up yet. I'm still a huge kid. And it's all day by day, and it's the changing aspect we're talking about here in this episode. A nice quote that I made up myself is, "Not every boat gets lost in the storm." And that means, you'll get some adversity from now and then. Like, everyone hits adversity. Adversity is common, very common. Everyone's going to go through it. It's about what you're going to do to attack that. Are you going to be the hammer or the nail? Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to emphasize.
And if I could actually add on to that a little bit, so... the Rocky Balboa, it's a Sylvester Stallone quote. He says, "It's not about how hard you get hit, it's about how hard you get hit and you can keep moving forward." And that's the essence of the quote. And, handling adversity it's a tough thing for a lot of people. The burdens of life all come crashing down on you sometimes. You may feel helpless at times. You may not want to get out of bed, but, you can either let everything hold you down or you can move forward and just continue to persevere through your problems. But eventually, I think there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, don't you think?
Oh, of course. You have to think like that. Optimism is the only way you can really live, because if you're a pessimist and you're just worried about what bad can happen, you're not worried about what good things could come about. You know what I mean? So always think with like the glass half full, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Positive mindset,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
And what happens if you don't have a positive mindset?
I'd say if you don't have a positive mindset, everything will lose taste to an extent. I feel like you'll be less motivated. You won't hop out of bed with a smile anymore. You won't converse with your friends the same. Mm-hmm. It all just takes a toll on you as a person. If you get up every day and you're like, today's going to be great, and we're going to get after it, and we're going to be the hammer and not the nail, that's a way to start your day. That's starting your day with the glass full.
Mm-hmm. So being positive is part of a mindset, and I really think, you want to cultivate that into your life every day. If you wake up every morning and you see, every class in front of you, all the problems in front of you as obstacles, that's a bad mentality. Rather, see every problem, every class, everything in front of you as a new opportunity to grow yourself and to make yourself a better person. If you make yourself better 1% every day, you're 365% better after 1 year, and after 20, 21, 22 years of being alive. That's quite a lot of change happening, right?
Definitely a lot of change. I have it here. Like, business is special. It makes some people's world spin, and it makes some people's blood boil. Like, there are people who are good at selling and trading stocks, real estate, big data, etc. I don't know, and whatever endeavors you like prefer. The only difference between these people like who are good at it and the people who aren't is like the bridge of experience tainted by willingness to sacrifice. So when I say this, I mean, are you willing to get up and do this for 3 years, even though the payoff won't be for another 4? Yeah, I mean, we're thinking long term, and I feel like people are so fixated on like the end goal that they forget that there's all of this, all the miscellaneous stuff that happens along the way, and they get caught up in the sauce, so to speak, and they forget the big picture.
The big picture, and on what you're talking about, I feel like people don't see the big picture until they're at the end of their journey, so to speak. You know, people might not see all the little nuances that it takes to get to the big picture or to the end of the journey, and that's where you really learn your lessons. You know, when you fall on your way through the journey of change, you learn from your mistakes, you grow as an individual, and correct me if I'm wrong, people don't grow overnight. It takes a long time to grow as a person, would you say?
Oh, of course. Looking back from freshman year to now, it's like I'm a whole new person. It's because of those experiences that I'm battle tested. I feel like I'm hardened, and I've become a better man because of some of the trials and tribulations that I've had to go through past these 4 years. They've made me who I am today, and I'm grateful for them.
Want to share a couple tribulations or trials you've gone through that have maybe made you a better person?
In March, I tore my Achilles at rugby practice. So that
How was that? How did you do that?
That was a damper. I was running. I got the ball here, and I took a step down. And I planted, and my Achilles just ripped and rolled up my calf. And that was real humbling for me because before that, I thought I was Superman. I thought I could do anything. And of course, I've been hurt before in like sports, but whatnot. But I've never had an injury to this extent. And being on my bed for a month and a half, not being able to walk around, gave me an extra
different perspective.
Different perspective, yeah. Because before I didn't have to do all this critical thinking to use the bathroom. I didn't have to calculate my moves before I got up. I didn't have a crutch on. I didn't have a brace on or a cast or anything. So that just humbles you and makes you realize what's really important and how good we have it right now.
Mm-hmm. So if I ask, so when you were on your deathbed, you know, right after the injury, you know, was there ever a point where you just wanted to make the jump and not go along with the process, follow physical therapy? Do you just want things to change at the snap of a finger? And
I did, because I'm super self-sufficient, I'd say, so I hated having to rely on people to give me rides to the PT or the doctor's appointments or to help me go to the bathroom. It made me sick to my stomach that I had to resort to that. So I want it to go away like this, but I know pressure makes diamonds. So like that pressure created a diamond now. And like looking back at it, if I like quit everything and was just like, I'm not going to go through with this, then it wouldn't serve me better right now because I'm a better man.
Mm-hmm. And tearing your ACL or Achilles. Achilles tendon. It's not a fun one. But would you say it made you mentally tougher for whatever problems you might come up in the future? You know, let's say you don't like your first job, you want to change it initially. You think you might stay at your current job a little bit longer, see if you like it there?
I mean, my personality, I'd probably stick it out, but that's just me. Other people will probably bounce around. I said if the opportunity is fulfilling for me and I feel like it's going to benefit me tenfold and I see the ROI before I even spend a year at this company, I'm going to stay. Mm-hmm. But that's not everyone's prerogative. That's not everyone's goal to stay with one company.
And to add on to that, I think everyone takes their lumps in the beginning, whether they're starting a new job, new sport, new hobby. You're competing against people that are experienced. They've been in the industry for a while. I'll use an example for wrestling. So I wrestled in 8th grade for the varsity high school team, and I got beat up every match. Every kid on the team beat me up. It was a learning experience, and I just had to take my lumps, and then eventually I became one of the big dogs, and I started giving the lumps out to other people. So, you know, that change and taking the lumps in the initial stage of your new career, new job, X, Y, and Z. It's important to move on and just keep moving forward.
And how change is an aspect in everyday life. And life is subject to change in whatever venture you're in, whatever venture, activity, project. Change is going to happen. How are you going to react to it? Are you going to be the hammer or the nail?